Hi and welcome to the Math Walkthrough on Cambridge IGCSE 2019 Paper 4 58043. Question 1. Here is part of a train timetable for a journey from London to Marseille. All times given are in local time. The local time in Marseille is 1 hour ahead of the local time in London. Work out the total journey time from London to Marseille. Give your answer in hours and minutes. One method is to offset the timing in Marseille to what it is in London and find the difference. Next, the distance from London to Ashford is 90 kilometers. The local time in London is the same as the local time in Ashford. Work out the average speed in kilometers per hour of the train between London and Ashford. Speed is distance divided by time. This comes to 150 kilometers per hour. Next, during the journey, the train takes 35 seconds to completely cross a bridge. The average speed of the train during this crossing is 90 kilometers per hour. The length of the train is 95 meters. Calculate the length in meters of this bridge. By letting x be the length of the bridge, the required distance is x plus 95. By mapping the distance over time with speed and working at this in meters and hours, we can solve for x being 780 meters. Question 1b. The fares for the train journey are shown in the table below. For the standard fare, write the ratio adult fare to child fare in its simplest form. This ratio is 84 to 60 and translates to 7 to 5 in its simplest form. Next, for an adult, find the percentage increase in the cost of the standard fare to the premier fare. The increase is 66.7%. Next, for one journey from London to Marseille, the ratio number of adults to number of children is 11 to 2. There were 220 adults in total on this journey. All of the children and 70% of the adults paid the standard fare. The remaining adults paid the premier fare. Calculate the total of the fares paid by the adults and the children. We will start by mapping the number of adults and children paying the standard and premier fare. Having done so, we would multiply each of these numbers with its associated fare to get to the required total fare. Question 1c. There were 3.08 times 10 to the power of 5 passengers that made this journey in 2018. This was a 12% decrease in the number of passengers that made this journey in 2017. Find the number of passengers that made this journey in 2017. Give your answer in standard form. With 12% decrease being equal to 88% of total, the required number is the number in 2018 divided by 0.88. Next, find the integer values of n that satisfy the stated inequality. For such a question, you would scale the for n to being n to ease in identifying the answer. Question 3a. On the grid, draw the image of triangle A after a translation by the vector -3, 2. This is the blue triangle on the top left. Next, draw the image of triangle A after a reflection in the line y equals x. This would be the blue triangle on the bottom right. Next, describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. By identifying the intersect of two bisectors made from two identical corners of the two triangles, the transformation is a rotation of 90 degrees anticlockwise with center at 1, -1. Next, find the matrix that represents an enlargement, scale factor -2, center 0, 0. This is the 4x4 matrix, -2, 0, 0, -2. Next, calculate the determinant of the matrix in part C1. This is AD minus BC for the components ABCD of a 4x4 matrix. This comes to 4. Question 4a. The diagram shows a hemispherical bowl of radius 5.6 centimeters and a cylindrical tin of height 10 centimeters. Show that the volume of the bowl is 368 centimeters cubed, correct to the nearest centimeters cubed. You can show this by inserting the radius parameter into the formula for the volume of a hemisphere. In this case, the formula for the volume of a hemisphere is half that of the formula for the volume of a sphere. Next, the tin is completely full of soup. When all the soup is poured into the empty bowl, 80% of the volume of the bowl is filled. Calculate the radius of the tin. From its statement, we should need to equate the volume of the cylinder to 0.8 of that of the volume of the hemisphere and solve for R. Question 4b. The diagram shows a cone with radius 1.75 centimeters and height 6 centimeters. Calculate the total surface area of the cone. By first calculating its slant height using the Pythagoras formula, subsequently applying this and the known radius into the formula, we could arrive at this total area being 44 cm squared. Question 4b2. The cone contains salt to a depth of 4.5 centimeters. The top layer of the salt forms a circle that is parallel to the base of the cone. Show that the volume of the salt inside the cone is 18.9 centimeters cubed, correct to 1 decimal place. For what is required, I like to share two methods. The first being identifying the volume of the entire cone, then subtracting this by the volume of cone not covered by the salt. In the second method, we know that the height of the top section is only 1/4 of the entire. This translates to the volume being 1/4 to the order of 3 of the entire. This means the volume for the top section is 1/64 of the entire cone, and that translates to the required volume of salt being 63 out of 64 of the entire volume of the cone. Next, the salt is removed from the cone at a constant rate of 200 millimeters cubed per second. Calculate the time taken for the cone to be completely emptied. Give your answer in seconds correct to the nearest second. The required answer can be obtained by converting the required salt volume into millimeters cubed and then dividing by 200. Question 5. The diagram shows the graph of y equals fx. With the stated fx, use the graph to find f of 1. This is the value of y for a point on a line where its x value is 1. From the graph, y is minus 3. Next, find the ff of minus 2. This has two steps. The first step is to identify the y value for a point on the line where its x value is minus 2. From the graph, y is 3. Step 2 involves finding the y value for a point on the line where its x value is now 3. From the graph, y is 6.3. Next, on the grid opposite, draw a suitable straight line to solve the stated equation. For such a question, you want to make the left-hand side of the equation to be the expression of f of x. Therefore, what remains of the right-hand side of the equation has to be minus 3x plus 5. Hence, y equals minus 3x plus 5 is the required plot. And from the intersect, you identify the x values. Next, by drawing a suitable tangent, find an estimate of the gradient of the curve if x equals minus 2. This means plotting a tangent line for where its x is at minus 2. The red line represents this tangent, and the ratio of y to x represents the required gradient. Question 5d. Complete the table for y equals gx, where gx is 2 to the power of minus x. The y's are as shown in blue. Next, on the grid opposite, draw the graph of y equals gx. This will be plotting each of the coordinates stated on the table and drawing a line that adjoins each of these points. Next, use your graph to find the positive solution to the equation fx being equal to gx. And this would be the x value for where the blue line intersects with that of the black. Question 6. The table shows the time t seconds taken by each of 120 boys to solve a puzzle. Calculate an estimate of the mean. This is obtained by doing a sum of the product of the midpoint of time to its associated frequency, then dividing the total by 120. Next, on the grid, complete the histogram to show the information in the frequency table. Here, the width of each bar is represented by the range given on the table, and the height of each bar is its frequency being divided by the range of time. Question 7. A straight line joins the points a minus 2 minus 3 and c 1 and 9. Find the equation of the line AC in the form y equals mx plus c. The essence here is to identify the values of m and c for the equation y equals mx plus c. By using information from the two given coordinates, y can be derived as 4x plus 5. Next, calculate the acute angle between AC and the x-axis. With m being 4, the tangent of this angle is also 4. By doing arctan of 4, we would arrive at this angle being 76 degrees. Question 7c. ABCD is a kite where AC is the longer diagonal of the kite. B is the point 3.5 and 2. Find the equation of the line BD in the form y equals mx plus c. With BD being perpendicular with y equals 4x plus 5, BD has the equation of y equals minus a quarter x plus c. By inserting the x and y values of one of its coordinates, c can be solved as 23 over 8. With that, y would equal minus a quarter x plus 23 over 8. Next, the diagonals AC and BD intersect at minus 0.5, 3. Work out the coordinates of D. We shall start by letting O be point of intersect minus 0.5, 3. This means BD is equal to 2BO. With this, we could easily calculate the values of x and y for the point D. And with the calculation, this is minus 4.5 and 4. Question 8a. Angelo has a bag containing 3 white counters and x black counters. He takes 2 counters at random from the bag without replacement. Complete the following statement. The probability that Angelo takes 2 black counters is... Being without replacement, both the numerator and the denominator of the second fraction is just 1 count less than that of the first fraction. Next, the probability that Angelo takes 2 black counters is 7 over 15. Show that the stated equation is true. This can be shown by equating the expression in 8a1 with 7 over 15 and rearrange accordingly. Next, solve by factorization the given equation. This leads to x being 7 or minus 3 over 4. Next, write down the number of black counters in the bag. In this case, x must be a positive number, and that makes it 7. Question 8b. Esme has a bag with 5 green counters and 4 red counters. She takes 3 counters at random from the bag without replacement. Work out the probability that the 3 counters are all the same color. Here, the required answer is the sum of the probability when all 3 in succession are green and when all 3 in succession are red. This comes to 1 over 6. Question 9a. In the diagram, BC is a vertical wall standing on horizontal ground AB. D is the point on AB, where AD is 58 meters. The angle of elevation of C from A is 26 degrees. The angle of elevation of C from D is 72 degrees. Show that AC is 76.7 meters, correct to 1 decimal place. You can show this by using the law of sines. Next, calculate BD. One method in arriving at the answer is to equate AB being equal to 76.7 times cos of 26 degrees, knowing that BD is equal to AB minus AD. BD is 10.9. Question 9b, triangle EFG has an area of 70 meters square. EF in ratio to FG is 1 to 2, and angle EFG is 40 degrees. Calculate EF. In this case, I'm choosing to draw the triangle to better visualize what is said. From the laws for the area of triangles, half times 2x times x times sine 40 would be equal to 70. Then we solve for x. Next, a different triangle PQR has an area of 70 meters squared. PQ to QR is also 1 to 2, and PQ is equal to EF. Find the angle of PQR. Do note that the word different is in bold. We shall start by equating theta to the required angle of PQR. With all other parameters needing to be exactly the same, this means that sine theta would need to be the same as sine 40 degrees. This angle is at 140 degrees. Question 10a. Write down the next two terms of the sequence. The two terms are 3 and minus 1. Next, find the nth term of this sequence. We know that the formula needs to have the element of minus 4n, as the sequence decrements by 4 in succession. It then needs to be headed by a 23 to fulfill when n equals 1. The first number of sequence number is 19. Next, find the value of n when the nth term is minus 65. This is solving for n after equating the 23 minus 4n being equal to minus 65. Finally, another sequence has the nth term, 2n squared plus 5n minus 15. Find the difference between the fourth term and the fifth term of this sequence. The fourth term is when n equals 4 and the expression being 37. The fifth term is when n equals 5 with the expression being 60. The required difference is 60 minus 37. We have reached the end of this walkthrough. Do be on the lookout of our other walkthroughs if you have found this beneficial.